The road to Rustboro City starts now. I'm battling through Route 102, exploring Petalburg City, crossing Route 104, and making my way through the mysterious Petalburg Woods. Every battle counts as I prepare for my first gym challenge. So here I go for Lotad and routes, and the reason I go for Lotad is so I can have it use the move Flash later on. And Flash is an HM move, and HM moves typically aren't very useful in battle, and they can't be deleted until you get to the move deleter, which is much later on. So I just catch it so I can have it with the move Flash, so I don't have to teach it to any of my battling Pokemon. Although Lotad will be battling and won't be gaining any experience, it'll just be used for weakening the routes later on. Here Trico levels up to level 11 and gets Quick Attack. And what Quick Attack does is it's a 40 base power move that has increased priority, so it makes Trico move first before a lot of other Pokemon. Though Trico is already pretty fast, so it won't usually be making use of Quick Attack's increased priority. Here I battle a Seedot, and Seedot is a really rare Pokemon here that only has a 1% chance of showing up. Or maybe it's 2%, I'm not sure. But either way, it's really rare. Here I learn Pursuit. And Pursue's a 40 base power Dark type move that gets twice as strong if the opponent switches out, in which case it'll hit the opponent that is switching out. Which opponents don't typically switch out their Pokemon, so most of the time Pursue won't be making use of its double power. At this point, Trico is hit level 16, and is going to be evolving into Grovyle, which it just did. And each starter Pokemon in this game evolves into their second form at level 16, and then into their final form at level 36. At that point, Grovyle tried to learn Fury Cutter, and Fury Cutter is a 10 base power move that gets twice as powerful when it connects, and it does this until it gets to its max power on the 5th time. But Fury Cutter I don't feel like is very useful of a move for me to keep. You can only have 4 moves on a Pokemon at a time. At this point I just use Lotad in order to weaken the routes in terrain so that I can catch it easier. And I'll know if the routes has the right ability if it starts to copy my ability, because Traits copies the opponent's ability, and Synchronize doesn't. It makes it so that if it gets a status condition, then the opponent gets the status condition. Although note that fire types can't be burned, and poison types can't be poisoned. And I went for several routes, and I decided to stick to the one that had the quiet nature, because even though it lowers speed, it does increase special attack, and Routes is a Pokemon that's pretty weak, so it needs all the power it can get early on. And I could try and battle trainers to get more money early on so I can try and catch more routes. Or go back and reset from the beginning from a save and go for a different route, but I decided to not do that and just stick with the routes that had a quiet nature, because I felt like that was good enough to go for the game with. In this route I battle all the trainers, and I'm going to be battling all the trainers throughout the game, whenever I can. And I'm going to be editing out the optional battles, as well as the trainers that rotate around, and I'll talk more about that later. And I'll write in the description how much time I've edited out in each section. Here I pick up some berries, and berries you can give to your Pokemon to use outside of battle. You can give your Pokemon berries to have effects in battle, or you can use them outside of battle to have effects on your Pokemon. And there are many different berries, and if you want to know what the different berries do, you can look them up on Bulbapedia, which is like Wikipedia but for Pokemon. I also add out the times where I go into the Pokemon Center to heal my Pokemon, and that saves about 14 seconds each time. And I felt like it would be rather repetitive to show the times where I heal the Pokemon, since it's always the same thing each time. During this scene we run into Wally, and also Norman. And Wally here, we're gonna be seeing the capturing a Pokemon tutorial. In case you haven't caught a Pokemon up to this point, the game will show you how to do that. And this scene, different things can happen during it, it's not scripted. And Wally can end up KOing the routes very rarely, and if that happens, the scene afterwards will play out the same way. And I don't think I've ever had that happen when I've played the game. Notably, encounters are level 5 routes, which you can't actually encounter here. And the routes can have different stats, and the Zigzagoon can have different stats. And I presume the routes and the Zigzagoon can be a different gender as well. The routes only has one move on it, Growl, which lowers physical attack. So he's going to give the Zigzagoon back to Norman, and then he's going to be going through with just the routes. Now how he's able to use the routes well, when it can't attack at all, is something that's just game logic, and probably a developer oversight. Since you'll be meeting him later on, and I'll talk about that later. So for my routes, it'll have Growl starting out with. It'll be starting out with just Growl. So I'm gonna have to use it in battle and then switch it out to Grovyle. Gonna switch it out to Grovyle in order to gain Route some experience and Grovyle some experience. It'll be split up between the two. And I'm gonna have to do that for several battles until Routes gets up to level 6 and gets Confusion. And that'll be its only attacking move for a while. Now Confusion is a 50 power Psychic type move that gets Stab, so it goes up to 75 base power. Stab increases a move's power by 1.5 times. And if Grovyle used a Grass type move, then it would get Stab. Same type attack bonus, so it would go up by 1.5 times as well. And notably, routes won't be able to attack Poochyenas early on, which are dark types, and dark types aren't affected by psychic type moves. So I'm gonna have to switch out routes each time to Grovyle in order to beat up the Poochyenas. In this route, there's the first rotating trainer. Rotating trainers can be avoided. They'll look around in different directions, and they work in a certain way. And I don't remember exactly how they work. I think they look in your direction if you run up to them, but if you walk, then they won't necessarily do that, but I don't remember exactly how it works for sure. But yeah, they can be difficult to avoid, so I just go ahead and show them so that you'll know what the battle looks like if you aren't able to skip it. Now a note about moves in this game is that they have power points, and when you run out of power points you won't be able to use the move until you restore them. And to restore power points on a move you go to a Pokemon Center, or you use Ethers or Elixirs, or you use certain berries. I also get the first hidden item in this game. And hidden items are something that I'm not going to go off my way for. I'm just going to try and get them when they're in spots that I feel like it's pretty clear that a hidden item would be there. Like, there are certain spots in the game where it's clear that there'd be a hidden item, else why would they have that spot be there? Which is a little hard to explain, but you can kind of maybe see what I mean with the spot where the first hidden item I got was obtained. But yeah, you can reveal where they are with the item finder, which you can find later on, but I won't be using it. I'll just go ahead and skip the hidden items unless they're something that I can obtain really easily. So in this area, one of my goals is to try and find a slack off so I can teach it cut. And if I don't run into it, then I try to find it in Kada in a later area. Which won't be in this video, but will be in the next one. Now slack off is a pretty rare Pokemon. It only has like I think it's less than 10%. It's a less than 10% chance of showing up. It might be like 5 or 4% or so. And I didn't end up running into it in this video. This scene's gonna introduce us to the first of the Team Aqua grunts. And the Team Aqua is one of the main villainous groups of this game. The Pokemon games typically have a villainous group that you'll have to take down. And in Pokemon Emerald there's 2 of them. Team Aqua, and later on you'll encounter Team Magma. The Team Aqua grunts as well as the Team Magma grunts are typically not too much of a threat. So I just go ahead and switch to Grovyle and use it against this Poochyena. Now Grovyle's quick attack is stronger than its Absorb, but Absorb is still good in times like this for getting back health, so I can stay out of KO range. Although I'm taking so little damage that I don't necessarily need to use Absorb, but it's still good to have just in case anyway. This guy that we saved from the Team Aqua grunt is going to give us a Great Ball. And Great Balls are like Pokeballs, except they have a higher chance of catching a Pokemon. And you can't buy them yet, so you'll have to, so you want to save this Great Ball for a time when you really need it. This guy has a Nincada, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to Grovyle because this Nincada has Leech Life, and that's gonna be able to do quite a bit against Routes. Now Grovyle is also weak against Leech Life, it being a Bug type move, and Grovyle being a Grass type, and Bug is good against Grass, and it's also good against Psychic, Routes being a Psychic type. But it won't be doing much to Grovyle because of its high level. I use Pursuit against Nincada instead of Quick Attack, because, well, the thing with Nincada is it has higher defense than special defense. There are several different stats in this game. HP, which is health, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed. And speed affects if your Pokemon goes first or not. And attack, defense, special attack, and special defense affect how much you deal damage to the opponent and how much you take from different attacks. Now I just got the TM Bullet Seed, and TMs can only be used once in this game, so you want to pick the Pokemon that gets it carefully, because TMs typically can't be gotten more than once. although there are some TMs later on that can't be bought. Bullet Seed is a 10 power move that can hit an opponent up to 5 times. Grovyle will get stab on it, so it'll go up to, I think 12 base power with stab. So it'll always hit 2 times, so it'll be more powerful than Absorb. Or it'll be more powerful than Absorb. I'm not sure exactly how it works. It might double in base power, so it goes from 10 to 20. Not sure exactly how it works. I'll have to maybe look it up later, but yeah, the thing with Bullet Seed is I just use it only when I need to, and pretty much stick to the other moves like Absorb, because Bullet Seed can't get back health, while Absorb can. This trainer here, like one of the earlier trainers, has a full restore, and full restores heal all of the Pokemon's HP and gets rid of its stats condition, and you're going to be seeing a good amount of full restores later on in the game. And they'll use them always whenever their health. Gets low. Next up is the first double battle of the game. And double battles have you using 2 Pokemon that go up against 2 Pokemon. And they won't battle you if you only have a single Pokemon. So if you have a single Pokemon, they won't battle you, and you can just skip them. And this is helpful in the speedrun. But I want to battle all the trainers so I can get as much experience as possible, which will be good especially in the early game. Now there are moves that can affect both opponent Pokemon, and there are moves that can affect your partner and the opponent Pokemon. And there are moves that can affect a single Pokemon. So you want to be aware of all those types of moves. For example, Earthquake can deal damage to your partner Pokemon and the opponent Pokemon, unless, of course, the Pokemon is a flying type, or has the ability Levitate. Or has used Fly or Dig, in which case the move won't do anything. So if you're using Earthquake, you'll probably want to have your partner Pokemon be a flying type, or a Pokemon with Levitate. Or have it use Fly or Dig, or Dive. And Surf will affect both opponent Pokemon in this game, not so in the later games. And Growl will affect both opponent Pokemon, but not your partner. And so on. So pretty soon we're coming up to the end of the video, so if you like this video and want to see more, be sure to subscribe and leave a like. And in the next video I'll be exploring Rustboro City. So this is Isaac, and I will see you later.